Good afternoon, everyone. It's Adam Corcoran with Golden Care. We're here for another episode of 3 at 3. We are super excited to have our guest here today, my friend Bruce Rosenblatt with Senior Housing Solutions. Bruce, how are you doing today?
Doing fine.
Excellent. Well, thank you for spending some time with us, answering some of our questions. Why don't you just take the opportunity to introduce yourself and let everyone know what you do?
So, Adam, first, I want to just thank you for this and glad that you're doing well. And, I just want to say my thoughts and prayers are for all the healthcare workers out there and everybody who's working hard and, keeping us safe. And so I just, it's a crazy time right now. And I have much gratitude for the people who are out there working. And so I'm thinking about everybody and hope everybody stays safe out there. So again, I'm Bruce Rosenblatt. I own Senior Housing Solutions, and we are a local senior housing placement company. And I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I help people find senior housing both in Collier and Lee counties.
So, I was actually putting a lot of thought to it. And, we talk as a team in the home care space of understanding how we're adapting to this new normal and going virtual with a lot of things. So can you speak specifically how COVID-19 has really affected your business specifically?
So it's interesting because I have like two different types of clients. I have people who are in the planning stages who are probably, years away from doing things. And for those people, we're still communicating with those people, but pretty much that's been pretty much on the back burner at this stage. There are other people who have more of an immediate need, who probably are getting some home care or maybe are been in the hospital and their situation, so then they need immediate placement. So from that side, I've been extremely busy trying to find people who have that immediate need, as well as communicating with the different communities, because some communities are accepting people and some are not. And so that gets a little tricky because, maybe the ideal place isn't available because they're not accepting people. And so we have to go to the second or third choice.
Right. So, from your perspective, you're kind of just adapting. So assisted living communities, depending on where it is still accepting people to make transitions at this time?
Many are. Some aren't, but many are. And, it's interesting because people right now are saying, am I safer staying at home or am I better, living in a community where there are services involved? So, it's working through some of those fears and concerns. I do think that, a senior living community provides, dining services and staffing and have, certain procedures and policies set in place. So the people there are, on the most side are very safe and are probably better than living by themselves. But it is the time of what we're dealing with right now.
And for your clients that are more so in that like planning stage, right? I had an earlier segment that I was discussing with some colleagues about the opportunity to maybe revisit those conversations now, right? Maybe this is the time to say, let's buckle down and talk about that next step plan, because we all get so busy with day to day, right? And now it's like, well, we really don't have much of an excuse to avoid those conversations or really just sit down and have those transparent family hard conversations about what the future does look like.
And it's such a great point because, well, for one thing, people are at home. So, I spend a lot of my time calling people and just having conversations with them about, how are things going? How are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you, it has nothing to do with senior living, but I'm still staying in touch with one another. And, they people know who I am. And so it's sort of an obvious conversation about, planning ahead and what the next steps are. And so this is a good time to revisit those conversations with people because, this is going to pass. And, people still need to have a plan. You just can't, you just can't roll the dice and not have a plan.
Right. And from my perspective too, I look at it as I'm having conversations with people who said, home care, that's not ready. I'm not ready for that yet. Or maybe even a transition. I'm not ready for that. But I think at this time, it really is put in perspective to someone to say, oh, geez, now I'm isolating, right? I don't have much ability. So maybe it's kind of that trigger point of, gosh, what if we were to go into a bad hurricane season or another situation like this? Would I rather be in an environment like a senior living community? Maybe the answer is yes. So I think I appreciate you having that, being a resource for those people.
Yeah, it's very true. And I have this one client right now, and the wife has cancer, and the husband's had major medical issues, and so the conversation needs to occur about, well, if something happens to the husband, what is the wife going to do? And
Right.
they live in a big home in a community, and so now is the time to have these conversations, because the status quo is not gonna do it for them.
Sure.
And so, but it is, like I said, it's a good time to touch base with people. We do video conferencing with people. Many of the senior living communities are doing just like this type of FaceTime and video conferencing, and so many of the communities are offering video tours and virtual types of arrangements to give people the opportunity to check out their community without physically going there, which is great.
Sure. Sure. So if you're like me, my second question, Bruce, is I'm pretty structured, right? I wake up, get ready for the day and kind of make my normal routine. This is kind of put a little obstacle in that path, right? So what are you doing your day to day? What does that look like today differently than your norm?
So, I have a home-based office, so I'm used to working out of my house, and so I wake up, I exercise as I normally exercise, and I start my day. I still have, I do my marketing, and I do my accounting, and I make my, you know, my call list that I know I'm gonna, that I people that I'm gonna touch base with, and so my day is pretty, pretty similar. The only difference is I'm not going out anywhere.
Right.
And so where I was normally, I'd be visiting different clients or visiting different communities. Now it's all over the phone.
Sure.
So that's changed a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm visiting the refrigerator a little bit more often than normal, but I think everybody's going through that.
Sure. Yeah, it's very true. And that's a good perspective, because for people who do have that normal routine of working from home, maybe this isn't that much of a change for them. But I know a lot of people are having to adapt. But I think with technology, like resources like this, being able to take a virtual step, it's kind of a nice little challenge for some of us.
Yeah, and this Zoom is new for me, so I'm trying to learn that, and
Mhm.
so I'm excited to learn all this, because I think this is probably our new normal,
Mhm.
and so learning how to use this technology to help us is great. I plan to do this with I formed a network of advisors across the country, and so I'm going to be rolling this a video meeting with all of my advisors across the country, so we can talk to one another and learn from one another about how they're dealing with things so well as well.
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with someone the other day of saying how, using this virtual tool to do home care is interesting. And I said, well, and they kind of challenged me. They said, if you can master this, think about those families that are afar, that you can have that kind of connection. So I think you're right in saying this may be part of our new normal. Again, I look at it as an opportunity. But talking about the future, I'm going to dive into my third question and say, what do you think? Like, what do you think? How is this going to impact us long term? What do you think the future entails?
Well, it's a good question. I think that I think that there's going to be a pent up demand, and so I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows when this is going to completely end, if it's ever going to end completely. But I believe that people are living at home right now, and probably recognizing that it's not working out for them. So I'm anticipating a lot of pent up demand, and so I'm prepared to be very busy in the near future. Um, but I also see that with the restaurants, and the worker force and all that, there could be some smaller mom and pop retirement communities that may not survive. And so they could, and everything that I read, it seems that some of the bigger players are probably going to take over some of the smaller players, so there will be an adjustment within the industry of some of the smaller places not being able to survive, and the bigger places taking them over. So there will be definitely will be a shakeup.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. I was even thinking the other day of when will we get back to a total normal going down, walking the street and shaking someone's hand? I don't know. Like we don't
I
know
don't
what
know.
that looks like.
My wife and I were talking about that last night, and it's hard to imagine going to a sporting event or shaking someone's hand, or I just it's going to be very strange. But
Yeah,
I think we'll adapt. We've adapted before, and we'll rise to the occasion.
sure. Yeah, for all those huggers out there, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. But the silver lining is that, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, is that we're able to spend time with our families, and so I see people in my neighborhood, and they're riding their bikes, and they're
Mhm.
walking, and they're with their families, and it's such a nice. It's kind of like going back in time, where what's important to people, and so it's kind of nice to see that people are slowing down, and they're having dinner with their families, and people are off their cell phones, and so that's sort of, if there is a silver lining, I would think that's it.
I think you're right on. I don't think I've seen as many people in my community riding bikes, walking. It's very encouraging to kind of see that maintaining social distancing, but seeing people taking that outside approach. I think because they're all cooped up for so long inside. So I guess you're absolutely correct in saying that. So
But it is scary, and I as I started off, I have so much appreciation for the people who are the healthcare workers. I read Annalise from Eval. I read what she posted yesterday, and Facebook about her people, and they're going out and what they're doing in Eval. And so your heart just goes out to these people. And my wife is works in the healthcare field, and I'm scared. I gotta say it. She goes to work, and I'm scared. And so I think this is you know we have to deal with this, but we have to be safe. But it is something we have to think about.
sure, sure, yeah, for sure. And I even think about like my own caregivers. I mean, these are employees that have extreme loyalty in waking up every day and putting their own health at risk. We're protecting
Right.
them as we should, but again, I think just being out in the environment, you're still subject to some risk.
And
So
their families, they go home, and so they go home, and so it's scary.
yeah, for sure. Well, Bruce, I appreciate your time today. If someone was interested in learning a little bit more about senior housing solutions, or just even having a conversation with you, what's the best way of them getting a hold of you?
The best way is to call me. So they can call me at 239-595-0207. So I'm pretty much here 7 days a week. So that's the best way to call me. They can also visit my website at seniorhousingsolutions.net. But give me a call. You can text me. You can call me, and and I'm here to and Adam, you and I both know this, is that we're here to help people no matter what. And I think that's what we're all here to do. So just if someone is concerned about senior housing, or if they have a family member in senior housing and they have some questions, just give me a call.
All right, very good. Well, we'll definitely post your information on this post, and if anyone has any questions, they'll reach out. And well, I look forward to virtually seeing you soon, and
Right.
we'll stay in touch. All right, bud?
All right, Adam. Thanks for everything that you do.
All right, thank you, Bruce.